Action! Activate! Here we come! There they go! People rise! 'Cause they know we're super soldiers! We got cool clothes! You real soon! You see our pose! Tension! Energize! Mask on! Time to ride! Combine! Grease ties!
Hey everybody, what is up? It's me, Gazbot, for Action Activate. And if I am Gazbot and this is Action Activate, then with me, as always,
It is me, the big dog. Today I'm the grid dog because we are talking about Cosmic Fury episode 2, and I thought it was fortuitous to bring up the grid because of, this good episode.
called Beyond Repair.
Beyond Repair, which
Yes.
again, everything has to do with the grid. This is a really good episode. I know we've already seen Cosmic Fury, but we're reviewing it obviously retrospectively. Going through this episode again, I thought it was really good where even though it's a new season, even though we know that there are going to be some changes, we're still picking up where we left off with Dino Fury and having the same power so far. And I really like that. We got some new Zords, which is cool, but we're using the keys. We're still going about and really trying to protect Dino Henge as a key component of this to try to turn Ollie good again. I think
if we didn't know that they were going to flip their costumes and Zords and stuff, we would think, okay, well, they're like in the olden days when you're just watching a show and you don't see media for 8 months out, it would feel very much like a season where like, okay, this is the third season, and then halfway through you're like, wait, what's going on, kind of. And that's cool that they did that. Because even with like, I was thinking like Megaforce to Super Megaforce, they changed suits and they were kind of that was the closest they've come to this since the early days. But I think this did it better.
Yeah.
That's my hot take. This is better than Megaforce.
Oh, wow. I don't know if I could follow that up with an even better take. I think this episode, like I said this when we were watching it live, but I really like Evil Ollie.
Yeah, he does a great job. The actor does a great job. He feels
Kai,
like,
I forget his last name.
It's Kai. I don't remember.
Moya, something.
I want to. Kai Moya sounds right, but correct us in the comments.
Yeah, exactly.
He does a good job. He's like an anime. I was gonna say he's like an anime villain, but he's like a Toku villain, like a more modern Toku villain, where they're kind of charming and good looking. It's like, oh, this guy has everything. It's like, yeah, but I want more. Like, it's just, and he doesn't just become. He's not a cartoon character villain. He doesn't just become, oh, I'm evil now because I'm evil. And
this, and we talked about this in our last episode, but we'll say it again. We are not going linearly. We're going to jump around a lot, so just be aware of that. Phenomenal shot. Love this shot.
Yeah.
Just seeing that suit on Mick is awesome, especially in the new Zord cockpit. But this episode really set the tone as this season is different than any other modern season of Power Rangers. Now, there's a lot of overlap, obviously, but
it even starts with Javi missing his arm still. They're like, we got to deal with this. And he's like, oh, like, so it's like, yeah, that's unusual.
Yeah, he's still missing his arm, which I actually forgot about. But there's that. At multiple points, we get differences of, like this scene, for instance. We see that the comedic relief characters that we know are there, and they have one bit of semi-slapstick, and we don't dwell on it and be goofy. We just do stuff and move on.
I think that was the most slapstick goofy thing in the whole series, to be honest.
Yeah, and I loved it.
Yeah, and it made sense because they're at Ion's. Wait, is Ion or Aeon? Now all of a sudden,
Ion.
I started doubting myself. Ion's place where you eat the Flurgan cake like that. So they're goofy, but that's, it's like being in a dunk tank. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. We get to see Lord Zed's ship and base. I don't remember if we saw it in the last episode, but it was good.
I don't remember. I don't think so.
I like seeing all the generals here.
I forgot to say this last episode. I love that she has like a fangirl Lord Zed t-shirt.
Yeah, I like that too. But right here, stay on this shot. I love kind of setting the tone of like, here are the villains we see. here's kind of, the stage, here's what the Rangers are dealing with. And I thought that was really cool.
I agree. And also just looking at it from the color matching, a lot of times everything's like chaotic and that's fine. But like they all kind of like the lighting and the colors, like they look like they go together. It looks like a unit as opposed to a bunch of like randos like working together.
Yeah. For a lot of the season, the mom, is it Basilia or is it the daughter?
I think it's Basilia.
Whoever the mom is, I kept thinking was a male villain for a lot of this season.
Did we ever figure out what was going on with these cactuses? I forget.
No idea.
Okay.
Here, pull out of the screenshots because we're getting lost in the screenshots.
Okay.
But one thing I wanted to say back to the kind of setting the tone. So Ollie were trying to turn good this episode, and last season they were able to do it and it was fine. And this season they're trying it again, and it's very clear that this is more evil than before. Something's not working. Like,
I do appreciate though that they said, "Hey, we have a cure. Let's use it." Not like, "What do we do?" Like they tried it, didn't work. Fine, that's great.
Yeah, we get that. We get Amelia dropping the "I love you" casually. We get some blood, which we haven't seen in a long time. When he's still evil and he throws his sword at Amelia to prove to Lord Zed, like, "Hey, keep my powers. I'm working for you." He's like, "All right, I believe you. You just tried to behead your girlfriend, so sure."
Yeah.
What else?
We get Billy morphing with the team, and they get in the cockpit. Share screenshot again. Where they take the new Zords, and Billy suits up and goes with them. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Everything so far has been very cohesive and very natural. Like, it doesn't feel forced that Billy's there. It doesn't feel forced that Fern is on the spaceship with them. It doesn't feel forced that Mick was involved and now is doing other stuff. Like, everything is flowing and it feels like a very cohesive universe, as opposed to, hey, we're only teaming up with the people last season or from the season that has the same theme as us.
And only for one episode, and that's it. We're not going to call them later or...
Yeah, even though there's arguably a bigger threat later, we won't reference them again. It's fine. There are other Ranger teams that are arguably closer. We're not talking to them either. We're just not. But so this episode, which I don't know why, but I'm such a sucker in most Power Ranger seasons when they lose their powers at some point, because I feel like it's a very good point of how strong I feel the team is, of how they deal with that.
Yes. And as individuals, it's that whole, like, are you a Ranger because of your powers, or do you have your powers because of who you are?
And most teams live up to that, and certain teams absolutely do not. So
I think this team absolutely did. And this isn't the first time they've lost their powers either. So they've already proven.
Yeah, the emergency kind of break glass is needed to teleport them billions of light years away at the end was also gnarly. I'm like, I don't know how you get out of this.
And I love that I sort of called that like a season ago, like, because they were like working on making this a spaceship and so it could fly. Like, whatever happened with that? Aren't they going to go somewhere? And that's what happened.
You get the point. You get the Ninja Steel point.
Yeah.
But also I like that it wasn't a thing that they dwell on too much, where it's like, oh my gosh, we're here. They're like, we had to do this. Like, we're going to try to get out of it, but like, there was literally nothing else to do. So now we're going to figure out what to do. The Fern being on the ship at the end, I really like it because it makes sense. If anything, like, I would argue the mom should be there too, but it makes sense that she's there just because we've established that only a handful of people know they're Rangers. Why that's still a rule, no one knows. But I'm glad that they're still involved, even though they themselves don't have Ranger powers.
Agreed. Yeah. And I like that they end up on this other world, and it was sort of a random world that they could like breathe on, but it wasn't like, oh, we have allies here and we can easily construct it's just like, no, it's like, what are we doing? And then
we're on Aquitar. Wonder what we're doing. Hey, Eltar's over here. No, Eridus, made up planet. Awesome.
Yeah, and then I guess it doesn't have until next episode, but they start dealing with indigenous life there, and that doesn't go.
That's a episode 3 conversation. But
and something I said when we watched the full thing, and I'll reiterate probably a few times, is like, while it would be nice to have more episodes, just because why not? I like that there's like no filler, there's no fat. It's just like boom, boom. It doesn't feel rushed, but it's like we're just going. Here's the story. And part of that is because of the short episode season, and part of it is because we know almost all of these characters already. We don't have to introduce them and do all that stuff. So it's a shame that it couldn't just be like this and get better from here.
Yeah. It's another one of those bittersweet things where you guys could have done this earlier. You didn't have to wait until it was kind of last call to do it, but I'm glad we got it instead of never getting it, kind of thing.
I assume and believe that this is the final season of Power Rangers as we know it.
Yeah.
But I do keep remembering, like, oh, well, In Space was supposed to be the last season, so they just did a bunch of stuff they would never do. RPM was supposed to be the last season, so they did a bunch of stuff they'd never do. I'm like, I don't think the ratings are doing well enough to save it. I don't think, but like, I believe it's over. But there is a little piece of me that's like, maybe something will change their mind.
Unless it wasn't. Yeah. We'll see.
Well, I believe that the intention is that it is over, but my hope is that maybe that could be flipped.
I think similar to what we've seen with the comics running parallel to the show in some ways, like any media that you get out that's popular, just make it. Doesn't matter if it's in continuity, doesn't matter if it's its own continuity, doesn't matter if it's the comic, doesn't matter if you make up your own thing. We like it. If it's good, we like it. If it's bad, we'll tell you it's bad. Well, if it's also, in between, we'll tell you it's good and bad.
That's true. And also, even if we don't get another season proper for a very long time, if ever connected to this, there are strong rumors that there will be another, reunion special, whether it's a direct sequel to this with Billy and all that stuff or not. That's something to hold on to too. I feel like that's more likely to happen and more likely to happen sooner than another whole series. So.
Yeah, I could see us having more reunion type stuff in the main continuity before there's a potential reboot than, like you said, another season as it is. But still, speaking of the season as it is, I really enjoy it. 2 episodes in, we both gave 2 thumbs up. This is solid. Like, I can't think of another season other than, like, even SPD, which we love. Like, this is such a strong, like, start that it, like, obviously it has going for it that it's a continuation, but
it has a continuation and it's bringing back a beloved character as a main cast member. And I'm reluctant to say this is the best 2 openers ever, but it is up there. It is
easily top 10 now. It is solidified as easy top 10.
Easy top 10, maybe top 5, maybe, maybe like we'd have to go through it, but easy top 10, no question. For sure.
We would have to do a tiered list again, which we haven't done in a long time, and we still have a season or 2 left, but hey, we'll figure it out at some point. But
until then,
last thing, the Zord fight was really cool. I enjoyed seeing the Megazord.
I think we said that last time, the Zord footage and the way they're using it, it's partially the way they're choosing to use it, and partially I think Q Ranger just had some cool stuff going on, and that's
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to talking about 3. There's parts of 3 I don't like. There's parts of 3 I really do like, but I really love 2.
Speaking of that, we may miss a week. I'm going to be away next week. Our plan was to record 2 tonight. That's not going to work out. We'll try to record an extra one before I go away. If not, Big Dog will probably just upload a message going next week, because I'm not going to be here. So he can do whatever he wants for that whole week. Just run with scissors, anything he wants.
We'll figure it out. But now, until next time, I have been the Big Dog, the Grid Dog, as it were.
I've been Gazbot, a subsidiary of RoboGaz Incorporated. And
to the power. See y'all later.
I realize a lot of times I go to the power, and then you go to the power, and then go
something. I don't know. We'll figure it out one of these days.
It's only been a couple of years so far.
I think very soon, because I haven't done it yet, you and I talked offline about having piles of things that we need to open that we really like. I think I need to open my Q Ranger Zords.
Oh, yeah. The light and sound is so fun to play with.
Yeah.
I think they had like an add-on cockpit Qtama. It had a little silhouette of the pilots in it. That's even better.
I'll have to look for that next year at MorphCon if I find one.
It was cheap when I got it. I have no idea what it goes for now. But
who knows now that it's actually in Power Rangers?
You don't need them. It is not needed, but it was a little extra fun thing to put in there.
Yeah, but we'll see.
See ya.
I know you're still going. It's fine.
I wish there was a way to do it.
I know you can't dupe me. That's the thing.
This is how dumb I am. There's a little thing that says recording on my screen, and I thought, oh, maybe I'll cover that up. And that doesn't. That makes no sense.
Yeah, we'll both cover it up, and then I'll never know.
That's the equivalent of I was looking at a picture the other day, like a photo that was printed out, and I went like this to make it bigger because I'm so used to looking at a phone, And I'm like, nope, that's not a phone.
Technology, man.
Bye, everybody.